Let me see if I can go back. Some reason it clicked off, but we are back on. So we'll have two of these for you. So everybody, please stay with me a minute. All right. Now, while I try to get this back on for you. All right, here we are. Let's see if this is part 2 here. All right, there's part 1, and we got a part 2 here, it looks like. So let me go ahead and start putting this back on for people. So everybody, please stay with me for a minute. I am here. Please come back. Tell your friends that we are not done with the show yet. I'm going ahead and taping part 2 right now. For some reason, it did kick off, but we are back on. And we will just go ahead and play this in 2 parts. So let me go ahead as I continue to put this on to different groups here. And so stay with me here. Sometimes things just don't go the way they planned to. So everybody, please stay on for a minute as I try to update this. All right. We are the Thunders. I'm just typing in different ones. All right, we keep going, Larry. All righty, let's see if we have any other. This thing does not want to work. So stay with me, folks, as I try to keep my mood good. All right. We're coming back up. Everybody, please share it back with your friends. Guess we had a little lightning strike there. All right. All right, we're almost done, folks. All right, NHL. For those of you folks just joining back with us, if you can please go ahead and share this to your timeline, as we did have a little technical difficulty there. And let me see if I can get my buddy Rob on. Please reshare. All right. So maybe he'll be able to do that. All right. So folks, I want to apologize about that. We are back up. And of course, we are just minutes away from having. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we should have Andre Roy with us. Let's take a quick break.
To become a champion, you gotta own it.
We owned our defeats.
And I got 2 words for you. Series sweep.
Became undefeatable.
Mistakes, weaknesses.
We own them.
So we can never be mistaken for weak.
It tempers flair big time. With authority. A hard check.
We owned every cut, scar, and bloody bruise.
Every rival in the way of our arrival.
Boyd has won the series. The Lightning move on. The Stanley Cup final. Here come the Lightning.
This year, it's ours.
This year, we are champions.
Despite the cup we now call our own.
Our approach remains the same.
This year,
This year.
This year.
This year.
The Tampa Bay Lightning have won the Stanley Cup.
This year, we own it.
And believe me, this year, yes, we do own it. For those of you that are back with us, thank you so much. Not sure what happened. So when we replay the tape, we'll obviously have a two-part program on the replay, which is not a big deal. But before our next guest comes on, I want to go ahead and first of all announce that as far as the first period goes, if you have not seen, Lightning are winning 3-0 at the end of one. So a great way to start the season. Let me go ahead and play first a quick clip here before we introduce our next guest.
15 of the last 21 meetings have been decided by a goal or less.
Hordichuk and Waugh, and Darcy Hordichuk
Hammers.
just dropped Waugh. Now a good recovery, and here we go.
How nice of Hordichuk to let him back up. I mean, in the pugilistic world, that is a real gentlemanly play. And Waugh on his back still throwing. Those guys are, I give them a lot of credit. Man, they're in shape, and they just keep.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor, thrill, and pleasure to introduce to you right now, coming into our ApexGiftCard.com studio, let's welcome former Tampa Bay Lightning and 2004 Stanley Cup champion, Andre Waugh. Andre, how you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, Larry. Very good. How are you?
Good. You notice I picked the clip where you won a fight to play. I made sure it was a fight you won that I played.
Yeah, I didn't win every fight.
Hey, let me ask you. Yeah, let me ask you this. It's opening night in the NHL. Go back to the time when you played in the NHL. What was opening night like to you? Did you have butterflies, or after the first year, it's just something that came natural?
No, I mean, every year, butterflies big time. As soon as I got up, I was really excited to get the season finally going, and just showing up at the rink, maybe expecting to fight, get the crowd into it or something like that. But definitely every year I was pretty hyped up when the season started on opening night with the crowd and everything, for sure.
Now, talk about getting drafted. You were excuse me, originally drafted by the Boston Bruins, I know, in the 6th round. What was it like, and what was the feeling like to finally get drafted?
Just a great feeling. I mean, that's what you dream of, as a kid. I always wanted to play in the NHL. So when I finally made it in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, I was just a step before getting drafted, let's say, to play pro. So once I noticed that there was some interest for me at the NHL draft in '94, I was pretty excited, but, still didn't know what to expect. Boston Bruins, who drafted me, wasn't even a team I talked with or heard about. So it was pretty exciting, though. I didn't care who was going to select me that day. I just want to have a chance to prove myself in the NHL. And Boston Bruins, they're always had that reputation, big bad Bruins, and I brought the physicality in juniors. So once I got drafted, I was pretty pumped for sure.
Yeah, and you talk about physicality, but I know you remember that first goal you scored off Curtis Joseph. How special of a goal was that for you?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, especially Curtis Joseph, one of the elite goalies, in the league at the time, and had a tremendous career, still one of the best goalies of all time. I was with Ottawa, after Boston. It didn't work out with the Sens. I signed there. And finally made my debut, and I was playing on a line with Sean Van Allen and veteran Kevin Dineen. And I still remember coming in the zone behind Van Allen. He dropped the puck, and I took the big slap shot. That was one of my weapons, if I could say it in that way. So I took a big slapper and beat Cujo on the glove side. So I was pretty pumped, woo! Just raising the sky, and, just a great moment for sure to finally break the ice and get that first goal in the NHL.
And then, it wasn't long after that where you became a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning. What was it like when you first heard that you were coming to Tampa Bay?
I was very surprised, shocked, and I won't lie to you, I was a little disappointed because I remember Tampa was out of the playoffs when I got traded. And every year I was getting ready in Ottawa. They always had a pretty good team with the Marian Ossa, Martin Navlat, Chara, Redden, Chris Phillips, Daniel Alfredson. So anyways, they were always one of the top teams. So I never heard my name in any rumors. And I was playing some pretty good hockey. Fans were appreciating my style in Ottawa too. But I understand it's part of the business, But once I got traded, I remember I was at home. I got a phone call from the GM telling me I just got traded to Tampa. And I was like, oh, my God, I didn't know how to react. I didn't expect it. It just came out of nowhere. So I came to Tampa and, at first I was a little, they're not in the playoffs and I didn't know what to expect. But I got pretty familiarized with the area, the city, the fans. Even though there wasn't that many fans when I got there, I was in 02, I think, end of 02, 03, and when I got traded. So, it was tougher times, I'd say, because the fans, they weren't always coming to the games because they were out of the playoffs and a couple. I don't know what 15, 20 games left of the season. So, but once I finished the year, got to know the team and the guys, and I got excited. I was a little pissed off. I did some silly stuff. I got suspended there, leaving the box after a fight with Sandy McCarthy. But the next year, I came up with a good attitude, focus and ready to get going, and we had a good year. We finally made the playoffs in 03, 02, 03, yeah. Or I'm all mixed up in the season. I know 03 we made the playoffs and we lost to the Devils in the second round.
Right.
But we had a good run, with St. Louis Richards, Vinny LeCavalier. Guys were, happy and net, and a good group of guys, Tails, Andy, Andrew Chuck. So right there, I think even though we lost, we got some good experience, good baggage experience, and you could feel, there was something there, a good chemistry built on the core of the team there. And the following year, oh my God, it was just night and day. What we came out of the gate just as a good team. We had a little bit of struggle, but I think in December we took off and never looked back, and we went all the way and won the cup. What a run that was. So after you were asking me about how I was when I got traded. When I look back, I said, man, am I ever happy to be here in Tampa? The following year, the next year, I'd say, well, what a good move it was for me. So, pretty excited.
Now, not only was it a great move, here it is, like you said, the 2003-2004 season. You get to the Stanley Cup. You win that Stanley Cup, and you mentioned some of the players, just incredible players on that team. But if I remember correctly, in that Stanley Cup, there was a guy named Andre Waugh that actually scored a goal, a Stanley Cup goal.
Oh, yeah. The first goal of the Stanley Cup playoffs belongs to big Andre Waugh. And, yeah, it was we faced the Islanders, New York Islanders, first round. And it was a 0-0 game at the time, and it was my second shift in the second period. I didn't play, so I understand. We were the energy line, and we didn't play as much. But that was a time where I jump on the ice, and I remember forechecking against Eric Cairns, where I think he thought I was going for the big hit, and I just put my stick in the passing lane, cut the pass, and went on a breakaway, put it top shelf on Rick DiPietro, put the Lightning on the board. So, and I remember in the first period too, I think the Isles had some good scoring chances. Happy Bullen was unreal, and we had a tough time, but then we got that goal, and it seems like everybody, like, all right, we got the monkey off our back. Let's get this thing going. And then the rest, I think, well, St. Louis, Richard. If it wasn't them, it was the Stillman, LeCavalier line, and Fedotenko. So everybody contributed unreal all the way to the final. So.
How much easier was it for you guys to play when behind you had Hobby Bull in the net?
Oh, big time. I mean, I always tell people, if you don't have a decent goalie or good goalie to make the key saves at the right time, which Habby Bullen did at the time, he was wow. I think you can't really win, but Habby kept us in so many games where he made some great save, unbelievable saves. And that just gives everybody, the whole team, it gives you that drive to just, oh, nice, let's go. It pumps you up, you know. So definitely a big impact on, I think, the rest of the team to have a guy in net like Nikolai Habibulin.
Yeah, and let me ask you this. Throughout your career, you were always known, and you mentioned it earlier, as an enforcer. You would go out there, try to intimidate, and do what you can to give your team control. When you look back now on your career, are you happy you had that role, or do you look back and say, damn, I wish I could have played a different role?
Well, I don't regret it. The only time I kind of look back and question on that and ask me that questions when I see Vinny and Richie and St. Louis. They're all golfing every day and having fun. I have to work, so I wish I would have scored more goals. Maybe I'd be golfing with them and somewhere. But no, but I mean, I can't say I regret the role I did, because I started. And the reason I started was in junior, we were allowed to fight. That was my first steps. I was a tall, skinny guy. But I remember one guy I knew was like, Andre, you know, you're tall. If you back up, look, you're scared or that, they'll probably send you in junior A or whatever. And I didn't want that to happen. So I remember first guy that cross-checked me, punched me in the face. I punched him back, asked me to fight. I said, let's go. And I did all right for a guy that never really fought on his skates. Then I got in a second, third, fourth fight. And then I knew that was kind of part of my role. And I always told myself, if I bring that physicality and I can play also, score a couple goals here and there, it's just key. It's just a big plus. So, and I always tried to copy the style of guys like Rick Tocchet, Cam Neely, you know, those were guys that could play and fight and hit and do whatever. So that's how I kind of got started. So, I mean, that's what brought me there. And I knew that was the way I was going to make a career. That's why I did. I didn't always want to do it, and I didn't always enjoy it, but I knew it was part of my job and I had to do it night in and night out. So, but for sure, I wish I could have maybe contributed a little more offensively and maybe, you know, get a little more ice time. But other than that, you know, I'm still proud of the way my career went and the career I had. Basically, I played 13 years pro, 10 in the NHL. So, you know, 14 years, yeah. So 10 in the NHL. So, you know, I consider it a pretty good career out of all the players around the world that just wanted to play one NHL game. So.
Right. Now, you played 10 NHL years, 5 of them on and off. You had a split with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let me ask you this, and I know it comes up, Andre. You know, there's been some talk about the relationship between you and John Tortorella. Why don't we talk about that? I know you guys had some ups, you had some downs. I mean, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, John is, everybody knows him. He has a temper. He can, you know, he's a hard coach. He demands from the best out of every player. And I think he's a little bit like me. I have a short temper too, and Torts too. So some nights, sometimes when things didn't go well and he would let me know, I wouldn't always... I would never really talk back. I took a lot in, you know, and I knew he was trying to get the best out of me and kind of break certain things that I did or whatever. But that's the way he was. He was a hard coach, you know, and good coach. He knows the X and O's hockey-wise. I think Torts is very good. He's prepared, does a lot of video. That is great. The only part I'd say, because from my experience, is probably the situation one-on-one with certain players, the way he handled certain situations. I think the fact that he's just like a hard-nosed, tempered, hard-boiled temper guy, maybe that's what made him sometimes react, and maybe the next day, maybe because I remember a lot of times he would do or say things, and next day he would bring you in his office, try to, discuss a little bit of what went on and why he did it and that. So, but just in general, things were great. He was great with me, but some stuff like the only situation I'd say after the fight with Riley Cote where I get sent home, where that was hard for me to take in, because
Right.
I would go in every night and try to, just be physical, fight all the toughest guys of in the world, because I think the NHL is one of the toughest league. All the enforcers are there, toughest guys. So I would try, and guys were good with me. They're always, good job, Andre. Appreciate what I did. I think Torts too, but just I felt there was a lack of respect there that night. It was my second fight. I think the first fight I won with Riley Cote. The second one, okay, lucky punch. He kind of caught me and, buckled. I went a little, there was a whole story behind that, because after in the room, then fans yelling at me, they're showing the replay nonstop. So obviously it pissed me off that I couldn't go back on the ice. But all that, I just wish he could have, just grab me and say, hey, Andre, you know what? Sometimes it happens. It happens. So all the best. We need you. You're important. You're part of this team. And I think we had 2 more games on the road on that road trip, but he decided to send me home just because I snapped and I got pissed off, which is, if you never did that job, we're all guys that are proud of what we do. I felt like I let the team down, and, my family, my buddies, everybody, they called me after the game, but it was so tough to take in. But you learn, as all the best fighters, Bob Probert, Ty Domi, name them, they all lost. Donald Brashear, everybody gets, you take a punch, you lose a fight once in a while. So that was tough. I didn't appreciate that. Then after, just being away from the team, but stuff like that. But other than that, I think he was good with me. There's another time the year before that also, he sent me home because I took a penalty in the playoffs against Washington. They scored. He decided I wasn't going in Washington for 2 games. So I didn't know what to say to guys were calling me. Where are you? Why aren't you coming? I was like, Torts doesn't want me to go. So I don't know. Just stuff like that makes me look bad, and then the media and people are asking me, what happened? What did you do? And then I'm like, I took a penalty, and, Torts like, you're not going to play. And I don't want you to be a distraction because you're not playing. I was like, why would I be a distraction? I'm a team player. I care about my teammates, and the last thing I'd want to do is be a distraction anyways. But those are all stuff, people always wonder how, what, but now I share a little bit of it. And I'm not trying to rip on John Tortorella right now. I'm just explaining stuff sometimes that happen that we don't always see, and what happened, why, and that. But those were some of his decisions that I didn't always agree with. And but, I know it's part of hockey, and, I came back from that. And luckily for me, I signed with the Flames my last year in the NHL, because that was tough. That was after the Riley Cote incident fight that he sent me home. I never played a game again. So that was tough to sign in the summer. That could have ended my career, and some stuff he said also that I don't want to really share, but it wasn't. He told the team some stuff about me that I learned after that. I thought it was cheap and not necessary to say about me. But anyways, yeah. So I was lucky enough to get a chance and play 1 more year with the Flames. But other than that, I think the Cup run was unreal, because we're winning. We had days off. He was good with us. When you win, everything's great, but when things are not going as well, it's always a little tougher.
Andre, talk about the fans, because you instantly became a fan's favorite, and you know that. I mean, they loved you, and probably because of the enforcement type role that you did play. Talk about the Tampa fans and how they treated you.
Oh, chicks love me in Tampa. Oh my God, they love me. No, just I love them too. But you know, I tell people they always think that Larry, are you still there?
Oh yeah, I'm just moving the film around.
Wait, okay,
I'm here.
Here you go. Okay, let's start that over. So fans in Tampa, I mean, wow, they were just great. I always tell people, like, Montreal, everybody says it's one of the best, the loudest building, and I say, yeah, it is, because they don't have any other sports. They don't have Major League Baseball. They don't have NFL there. So it's basically NHL, hockey, Montreal Canadian. It's a loud building. But Tampa, I always say they're pretty close, you know, atmosphere-wise. People are fans. They're loud. They support their team. They're good to us. Even when guys, one thing I noticed, when guys weren't doing as well, guys like St. Louis, Vincent Lecavalier, who name him, you know, people weren't. It could be tough in Canadian markets when you're not producing, the expectations not you don't reach those expectations. But Tampa, I mean, people are good like that. They don't. They want you to perform, but when it's not going well, you know, they'll just be behind you and keep going. But I mean, fans were just great. I think that everywhere, people like the enforcer. Just, I think you bring the physicality, the fighting. I know now fighting is a little out of hockey, but I think people always love, every time there's a fight, they would raise, everybody would stand up, they would yell the "We want Raw." Those are some of the best memories in my career. The "We want Raw" chant. I mean, it's probably not the 18 or 19,000 that fits in the building. I don't know about if it's 19, 20, whatever, but there was at least 10, 11, 12,000 yelling the "We want Wa." It sounded like that, but that is crazy, because you never get like first star, second star, or the big article. Okay, once in a while, but people never give you the "Oh my God, what a." But sometimes, you know, guys like enforcer, they can change a game with a fight, a hit, or something, you know. So to have the fans behind you chanting "We want Wa," or just "Wa, we love you," that it was unreal. The feeling that gives you, you know, you feel appreciated. And I felt that in Tampa. I mean, those are. I always tell people the 5 years in different season, whatever, different. Like after Pittsburgh, I came back.
Right.
I mean, those are the best years of my career. I mean, people were great. I love Tampa, the city, the organization, fans are. I still tweet a lot and talk with fans that are like, "We miss you. We want Wa." So it's awesome. Even like 10, 11 years after I retire, I still get a lot of message from fans in Tampa. So they were just unreal with me, with the whole team, but with me, the way they treated me and they cheered for me. Nothing to say. They're the best.
Now, let me ask you, Andre, was there one guy in the NHL when you guys played, you said, "I want no part of"?
Well, I mean, honestly, all the tough guys, all the guys that do that role, the enforcers, like I was one of the. I wasn't even one of the biggest. I was in the smallest, because I always go with the big guys, the big boys, and I played the biggest I played at. It was 224, 225. I played at 220, 218. Some of the guys were 240, 250, 260, just huge. So I always say I had so much respect for all the enforcers, the guys on each team. And I always, you know, I never said, "Oh, I'm going to go in this guy more easy." You have to respect all of them. And obviously there's some guys that were tougher reputation wise, you know, and I said, "Man, if I have to do it, I know it's part of my job. I'll go, and whatever happens, happens. I'll just go in and give it my all and try to you know." But I always, I still, saying that, I always thought, you know, the Bob Proberts, I always had so much respect for a guy like that, he showed the path for all the guys. I mean, Probert. I think Derek Bugard, when he was in the last years in the league, he was like 6'8", 265. The reach he had, and he was breaking guys' faces. Todd Federock, he knocked out Trevor Gillies, he hurt a lot of guys. So that's a guy that you always, okay, I'm going to go in. I got to be smart. I got to make sure I don't give him my face too much or my chin, So you visualize. That's something I did a lot. I visualize a lot. I watch some tapes too on certain guys. So every night I try to, I knew it was part of my job. And if I had to, I'd go and do it for the team or just to change the momentum. But like I said before, it was never a fun or easy job, but you just knew you had to do it.
Yeah. Now, how hard was it to give up the game?
Oh, that was pretty tough. I wish I could have just leave the game like certain guys on my own terms, But unfortunately, when I retired, I didn't want to, but I was 34 years old in the summer. After that year in Calgary, I was 34, and I know there's always young guys coming up, that wants your job or plays the same role. So once the whole summer went on, and I was kind of waiting for there was discussions with the Islanders at one point, I remember, and then it just didn't work out. So they had a couple young guys coming in with the Isles farm team and that. So anyway, so the season season started, but my agent was like, you never know, stay ready. And I was working out, being ready, never knew. I know that was the time also when in Tampa there was a lot of changes with the new ownership before Mr. Vinnick came in, the Barry Melrose era and Rick Tocchet. So there was no way I could go back to Tampa with all the new the people that were there for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever. So I wish I could have got another chance in Tampa because I always felt like that was my home, felt comfortable there. But coming back on your question, yeah, it was tough. I retired, and after I had some offers in the KHL to play in Russia. I called a couple of Russians I knew just to find out about the city and how it was, and I don't know. I didn't have a good feeling, so I said, you know what? I'm just gonna wait. I tried to go in Germany, but because of the imports and that, they're limited over there, so that was tough to get in there also. So when December came, I said, yeah, I think that's it. So that was tough, Just I gotta say that full year was hard mentally, and I felt a little depressed. It's tough. They always say athletes, what happens with them and that, not to say I'm an alcoholic, but I was like just watching games and drinking my little scotch, vodka, whatever, and kind of, oh man, what am I going to do now? So it's tough. The part when you retire, you're not really prepared. People are always like, I know they're always like, oh, you made so much money, you're good for life, but it's not the case for guys that play like me, maybe star players. But that's why all these questions goes through your mind. What am I going to do? I have, I don't know, 40 years left, 50 years. So all these questions, but it was a tough year, just being home and not knowing where I'm going from here. So it was good to have the family around, my buddies and that. So, but it was pretty hard that first year.
Last question before I let you run, Andre. As a former player, someone who's played with the Lightning, like you said, on and off for 5 years, as a former player, how special was it for you to see this team win the Stanley Cup last year?
Oh, wow. I mean, the city, even the organization with Mr. Vinnick, I met him a couple times when they brought us in Tampa for I remember we had the 10-year reunion with John Tortorella with the Canucks. We came out on the ice. I skated a little like I didn't know how to skate. People were like, what the hell? But anyways, I mean, from there on, I think when Mr. Vinnick, I met him and he brought us in, like I said, and he was such a nice guy, just to meet him. And I was hoping a guy like that and the fans get another chance to celebrate the cup, So I was rooting for them. I knew they had the team to go all the way. Even the year before when they lost to Columbus in the first round, I was expecting big things out of them. Like everybody else, I was like, man, the Lightning are going all the way. They lost it, but the next year, last year, even though with all the COVID and all that, they were in a bubble, you know, I was watching every games and rooting for them. So when they finally reached the final and got to win the cup, wow, you know, so much memories from my years too. You know, I was like, oh my God, it brings back so many memories just to see the guys with the cup. And, you know, Tom Mulligan that was with us, the medical trainer that was still there. Just to see guys like that. John Cooper that I got to meet also. What a great guy. He was, you know, I don't know him as a coach, but as a person to talk with, I met him a couple of times. I was just happy for the whole people, the whole organization, even Nigel, their video guy that was there, Nigel Kerwin. So all those guys, I mean, I was so happy for them. It was just a great feeling to see that the Lightning got a second cup in their franchise history. So.
Well, listen, Andre, I want to thank you so very, very much for giving me your time tonight and coming on Frankly Speaking Sports with us.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me. I wish you all the best, and hopefully we see you in Tampa soon. We'll never know.
All right, my friend. Stay safe, okay?
All right. You too. Take care. I say
Take
hi
care.
to all the people in Tampa. Take care, guys.
That was Andre. Wow, what a great player he was. I mean, just a great player. Andre Waugh. I love him to death. And we're going to give you a quick update before we leave here. It is the end of the second period, and the Lightning are winning 4-0. They scored 3 goals in the first. They scored 1 in the second. So far, Cirelli won. Stamkos scored a goal, also has an assist. He scored that goal in the second period. Joseph and Palat also has a goal. Vasilevsky, 16 shots on net, turned all 16 away. Want to remind you all that are watching, what a night we have tomorrow night. What a night we have tomorrow. As you know, your Buccaneers are playing the New Orleans Saints this week in the divisional playoffs, and we have a Pigskin Thursday Buccaneer playoff extravaganza for you. 5 different guests will be joining us live on Pigskin Thursday tomorrow. It starts off with 2 super fans, Matt Bucknuts Algieri and Keith Big Nasty Kunzig. Both super fans will be joining us, followed by Saints beat writer John Hendricks. Following him will be former Buccaneer offensive tackle George Diaz. And then we ended up tomorrow night with an unbelievable NF Network reporter, Steve White. Wow, what a show we have for you tomorrow night. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to get feedback. Love to hear how you enjoyed us talking about the Lightning tonight. To my buddy Alex, who is also listening to this show, don't you worry, buddy. We got plenty of Rays stuff coming up in the future. I know you want us to talk Rays, and believe me, we will. We're only a little over a month away from spring training, and we have unbelievable shows planned for you during that time. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining us on Frankly Speaking Sports. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Special time tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, but 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you and good night.